Hey, Yuval here. So I got tired of drawing AWS architectures on drawio and then trying to create Terraform from that. And that was either by doing it manually or by using AI agents to try to do it for me, and then ending up with a lot of resources and not really knowing what's under the hood. So we created TopoReady. You start with a diagram, then we walk you through a process, and you end up with a Terraform project that you can actually run. This is an AWS architecture, a simple one that I created. You can see that I'm not using any icons for AWS, but you can use that as well. And some of it is a bit abstract, like a front-end React JS app. And I want to create Terraform for this. So here's what I'm going to do. I headed to TopoReady, and I'll upload the architecture that I have. We'll call it Testing App Demo 1. And now we're starting the workflow. The first thing that we need to input is basically if we have a preferred region, the environment, whether this is a staging, production, or test or QA environment. This really matters for certain choices the app is going to make for us or help us make in any case. And then we can select an architecture. So we could make it serverless or container-based or traditional. We'll be adding more, but I'll keep it for auto detection now, and I'll continue now. What happens now is that we are actually starting to process this, and we are starting to create the initial Terraform layout and drawing and all the resources. So this is phase 1. Now we can see that we have an initial drawing. You can actually see the different elements and how they connect to each other. But these are some assumptions that we've made, and now comes a really powerful part of this. So usually when you make choices as to what to create using the drawing, you're not aware of all of the tiny decisions you need to make along the way. It's just not on your mind. And this workflow helps you actually make these decisions. So you can either accept it as is. You can see and say, okay, you know what, I'm accepting it as is. Or I can go one recommendation at a time and make a decision. So let's do that. So the first one is, do we want ALB deletion protection? Now this is disabled by default, and that is what is recommended by the app. And the reason is that we're using a development environment, right? We're running in a development environment. We're in the dev env. So I'll keep this disabled. Now we added AWS Cognito. Let's disable MFA. RDS backup retention, no backups. Again, we're in the dev environment. Deletion protection, that's it here for now. You set the instances or the resources that you want to give it. And I'll just fast forward this. So now we're applying all these changes. Maybe they require more thinking by the AI creating all this infrastructure. So we'll let this run for a few seconds. Okay, done. We updated whatever we needed to update here. Now the next phase is actually running security analysis on this. So these are extra security recommendations that we may or may not have. Everything is based on the well-architected framework, by the way, and we tried to take all of our experience and pour it into this engine. So we'll start the validation, the security validation. Now, just like before, we have the security fixes. We can just auto-apply all of them or select each an individual one. Again, these are affected by the environment that we chose. If this was a production environment, there were probably more findings for improvement here. So next, I'll continue. And now, and this will take some time, but what happens here is another thing that we're doing that is very exciting. So if you worked with Terraform, you kind of know that there's a big difference between passing Terraform validate and apply, and the number of times that I applied something to production and only to find out it was failing during the apply. So the CI didn't exactly catch it because of some resource constraints or weird dependencies between services. We've all been there, right? You know what I'm talking about. So anyways, we've built an engine that will try to reduce that. And the code that you will receive should be working code. So this should apply without any error. And the process is done. You end up with a Terraform project, a zip file you can use. It has a README file explaining how to actually implement that. It will have certain placeholders, or it will let you know if there are things that you need to add, like if you're using a Lambda, where to put your code. This is an experimental app. You should not run it in production. You should still review the Terraform that we create from it. It still may have bugs. It may be still a little quirky, but we thought it would be a good way to introduce a new way of working, a new workflow. And we hope that if you are an AWS user, a Terraform user, you will give it a spin and actually see how it works for you. Is it something that was missing from your workflow? We would love your feedback on this. Now, I'll leave a link to register for TopoReady in the video description, and I'm really excited to see what you think.